What is going on, YouTube family? Hope you've all been having an absolutely fantastic week. Apologies to those of you who wanted to watch my videos. I just have been so busy the past 2 days. I'm not going to lie, I just completely forgot about it. So I'm going to make an active commitment to you guys to be posting every single day. And in today's video, I'm going to show you 3 things that you can test and you can use in your trading to help you get better results. Okay, so if you aren't doing any one of these things, start today. And I would massively implore, if you're a beginner, then you only take trades once these 3 criteria things have been filled. Okay, so the first one is taking trades in line with the higher time frame structure. The second thing is taking trades at higher time frame key levels. Okay, and then the third one is taking trades when the lower time frames are in your favor as well. Okay, because if you're anything like me, when I first started trading, I never really cared too much. Like, I knew all these rules and stuff, but I always just found that, oh, this trade would work, and I didn't really need to wait for the lower time frame structure to go in my favor. I can take a reversal trade here. I can trade off key levels, and then what you find out is that it's just a win for a little bit and then loss, 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 and it's nothing really consistent. And the reason why this is so hard to follow is because you're going to have to be really patient for these setups to develop, right? For all these 3 boxes to get ticked off. And what's also more frustrating is that you're waiting so long, and then when you come to the charts and you take a trade and it loses after exercising so much patience, exercising so much discipline, and it hits you at a loss, that can be quite irritable to deal with, right? And then you'll see that, those aggressive entries all seem to start working again. So just trust me on this, guys, okay? Like, this is a really golden tip. Another way that you can seriously enjoy yourself and not really care about your results is if you're enjoying your life outside of trading. So you don't really want to be glued to the charts, okay? But enough of the philosophical talk. Let's get into it and digest all of these points together. So what I'm going to basically do is that I'm going to leave this on the side of the screen, maybe at the bottom, okay? And then I'm going to basically briefly talk about each point so that you guys are fully in understanding of what I'm telling you. So the first thing you guys are going to need to really get clued up on is being able to identify uptrends and downtrends, okay? Uptrends have higher highs, higher lows. Downtrends have lower lows and lower highs. So essentially, the first point is, okay, when you're in an uptrend, let me make this a little bit clearer. Pardon me. Okay. So yeah, when you are in an uptrend, okay, you are simply only going to be taking buys, and when you're in a downtrend, you're going to be taking sells, okay? But what I also want you to realize is that even though we talk about in line with a high time frame structure, and we do know that price, more often than not, will always retrace, we're not going to be taking any reversals, okay? So put this here. Trade strictly with the trend. Okay, so if we got an uptrend, buys only. Downtrend, sells only. Okay, so that's the first thing that you're going to basically be looking at, making sure that you are clued up on how to identify trends. Okay, if you haven't watched, if you don't know, I do have a video on that. It explains it very, very briefly. It's pretty much the identifying trends and continuations video. Go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. Oh, pardon me. Sorry about that. But yeah, once you're going to identify the trend, you're only going to be trading in that direction, despite if price is moving down or whatever. And only when the trend has shifted, then you're going to take trades in the opposite direction. Okay, so we can see uptrend by here. You're going to be taking buys only. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, right, taking trades at higher time frame key levels. Okay, let me just go and copy and paste that so it's easier. Whoa. Taking trades at higher time frame key levels. So if we get up our little diagram again, okay, what do I mean by key levels? Well, your key levels are simply you're going to retest off your highs, and then you're going to also trade off your lows, okay? with a downtrend, you're going to retest off your lows, okay, and you're also going to trade off your highs, okay. So the next point is here is being able to identify these levels correctly, okay. Oop, hang on. So how do you identify your levels correctly? Well, you can simply go ahead and just sort of look at price, but when you identify a key level, instead of drawing a line like this, okay, I want you to go from the wicks, okay, and where the high basically stops. This is kind of discretion, you know, it's up to your discretion, but the way I would sort of look at this, right, let me try and zoom in so you guys get a clearer picture, is that if you're doing this level, then I always, can you see where the most clear sort of low is by here? I always try and go for like the lowest low in like a sequence because price will sometimes sort of just be jagged around here. It'll sort of be jagged around there. So if we're looking at the highs and the lows, I'll typically just kind of go to like the highest area where the bodies are. And then for the lows, I'll kind of go to where like the lowest area of the lows are kind of thing. But again, this is kind of up to you guys. It's completely how you do it. But if you go to the end of the wick and you also go to the bodies or the start of the wicks like so, something like this, okay, you see how it's incorporated all these wicks, then I've just noticed, guys, it just works really, really well. You get really accurate levels. Price tends to follow them. You know, sometimes price won't always, you know, go in quite deep. So if you, for example, I know these wicks are here, but sometimes I'll just sort of tap into these wicks and then boom and go. So that's why I always preach about going from the wicks to the bodies, okay? So let's go right here. Wicks to the bodies, okay? So let me have a look here. So uptrend, you're retesting previous. You're retesting them both, okay? Like because on downtrends you're retesting previous highs and lows, okay? So long as you're trading right at these trend points in line with the key levels, in line with the trend, drawing your levels from the wicks to the bodies, you can't go wrong, okay? So making sure that price is at these levels, like for example, if you were to take, let's go by here, okay? Let's say you were to take a trade around this level. I know that I say wicks to bodies, I'm just doing this for simplicity, but let's say for example you kind of missed the entry by here. You got to kind of think to yourself two things. This is where the discretion and the testing of your own sort of stuff comes into play. It's like, is it too risky for me to want to take a trade at resistance where price is buying? Because even though we're taking a trade that is around this key level, we're not going against the trend. We can see the price is breaking levels, and you know, for whatever reason, you've ascertained that this is now an uptrend. Okay, so if you don't get the trade at this key level, you might want to take the trade by there, and that's absolutely fine as well. Okay, it's just completely up to you. But ideally, you want to take the trade in and around that key level. All right, let's look at a downtrend for an example. Okay, okay, so we've got some. It's a bit hard to see really because this is not really the clearest of trends. Like the price action kind of just, you know, was pushing up, pushing down, and pushing up. So for example, this might be a clear bit by here. If you could see that this is a retest level following this kind of structure by here, right? Price comes back to retest this level. It also came back to retest this high. You know, you're going to be looking for trades in and around this level, wicks of the bodies, and then that level. Okay, if you want to readjust that there, something like that. It's absolutely fine. You can see the price didn't really react to that level, but it created a key level in and around itself by here. So as soon as wicks and highs and lows form, then boom, you got a key level. Okay, so what's the final part here? Okay, so trading when the lower time frame is in your favor. What do I mean by this? Simply when the lower time frame is in the trend that you want to see. So if you've got everything in line, oops, lazy. Okay, if you've got everything in line, okay, you can see that you've got the, oh, can you guys go away, please? Okay, you can see that you're in line with the higher time frame structure. Okay, you are taking trades at key levels. Now, what you want to see, you know, is something like this. So if you want to take trades at this level by here, okay, so you waited for price. You can see price is in a downtrend, clearly making lower lows and lower highs. It's come to this key level, okay? If you want to go to the 15-minute or the 5-minute, you want to see some kind of a shift, okay? So you can see that you got this, oh, almost broken it. Okay, so what you want to see? You want to see price breaking some levels in your direction, and you also want to see some kind of like sentiment, right? You want to see some, we can see now we're starting to get it. Price is starting to move down. We've got this break of this low by here. So if you want, after price broke this low, if you wanted to take trades by here, then, you know, this is perfectly valid. Put your stop loss somewhere, I don't know. You could put your stop loss, maybe behind this high if you really wanted to. Maybe go for like a nice simple 1-to-1. Boom. Absolutely perfect. You guys can definitely do that. Oh, it was NFP. Oh, okay, fine. So maybe you would have ignored trading for that day, but you basically get the memo. Just because that trade lost, I'm still stand by that trade. If NFP hadn't been there, it probably would have been a really good trade. Just going back test what I'm telling you. So you wait for that shift. Although it lost, it's still following that really good criteria. Okay, so price has basically started to break levels. Okay, as soon as you get that movement, then you could basically look to enter. Okay, one could also argue, had you used a smaller stop loss, you could have, you know, won that trade. So don't worry too much when you see guys winning or losing trades when they're back testing or they're showing you stuff, because like I said, you could have easily just shifted that down and, you know, done whatever. I'm not here to talk about entries. We'll talk about that another time. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys, right? And just because this was a downtrend, the rules still apply obviously for an uptrend. You want to basically see that sentiment shift in your favor. But I promise you, if you're taking trades in line with the high time frame structure, which basically means that you are taking trades following only where the trend is on the higher time frames, you're then taking trades only at those higher time frame key levels, and you're also taking trades when the lower time frames in your favor. I just don't see how you guys can go wrong. Okay, on the middle point, taking trades at higher time frame key levels, if price, right, had reacted to this level and then it basically bounced off a little bit, then go ahead and trade it. I'm not saying it has to be in this level. I'm basically saying as close to this level as you can, right? And if price wants to basically, you know, shift, then go for it. What I'm saying is that you don't take the trade, you don't wait for price to get to this level and then push all the way down by here and then trade. You want to be getting in at the earlier sign of the momentum. Okay, so guys, that's that for this video. I hope it was informative. As always, go and test what I'm telling you. Make sure it works for yourself. And I hope you guys have an amazing remainder of your week and a lovely weekend. And I shall see you guys on Monday. For now, goodbye and take care.